So we're waiting for the 32 owners, the 32 teams, Roger Goodell, all of them to stop running.
Before Colin Kaepernick.
To say, get that son of a bitch off the field.
Definitely before the stable genius.
There are going to be a lot of folks who do stuff that we just don't agree with.
Before Obama.
Through the night.
Before Megan Rapinoe.
Believe in something, even if it means sacrificing everything.
The message remains true. Sports and politics have never been separate, rather together, hand in hand, throughout the history of the U.S. and athletics. Many clung to the stick-to-sports narrative for a safe space. However, when the U.S. was attacked in September 2001, stick-to-sports was officially put to bed. American stadiums became forums of patriotism. Sporting events were now political, selling touchdowns and beers, three-pointers and homers, but also fidelity to police and military and to a point of view that accepted the American government's war on terror.
My fellow citizens, at this hour, American and coalition forces are in the early stages of military operations.
Nearly 461,000, or I should say 461,000 men, women, and children died between 2003 and 2011.
To disarm Iraq, to free its people, and to defend the world from grave danger.
And that war on terror struck a chord.
I could not see past the next day. I didn't know how this was going to play out.
Toni Lee Thompson, then a senior at D3 Manhattanville College. Smith would quietly turn her back to the American flag during the pregame playing of Star Spangled Banner, a silent protest they learned of America's potential involvement in an Iraqi war. "I did it for my own self-respect and conscience," she said.
My conscience won't let me go shoot my brother or some darker people or some poor, hungry people in the mud for big, powerful America and shoot them for what?
An athlete's conscience is a powerful thing. A war will cause many innocent people, women and children, mothers and babies, to die overseas, she said. Adding, a lot of people blindly stand up and salute the flag, but I feel that blindly facing the flag hurts more people. There are a lot of inequities in this country, and these are issues that needed to be acknowledged. The rich are getting richer and the poor are getting poorer, and our priorities are elsewhere. And like Ali
more than held his own against students who had a far better formal education than he.
Detractors resorted to attacking these athletes' constitutional rights.
To say, get that son of a bitch off the field.
Ditto for Toni Smith.
I was unwavering in my commitment to continue my protest, but my spirit is what was feeling hurt. What happened to me on some level was really paralyzing.
The outrage directed at Toni Smith was volcanic. Threats of violence were sent to the school and were palpable in the stands.
They were hurling slurs throughout the entire game.
When the team traveled to the U.S. Merchant Marine Academy, more than 300 flag-waving midshipmen greeted Smith with chants of USA and Leave Our Country.
Colin, if this country disgusts you so much, leave.
Heard that before. When a 56-year-old man named Jerry Kiley marched out onto the court and held an American flag in front of Smith. After he was ejected from the gym, Kiley said Smith disgraced herself and disgraced the flag. The school received demands to have her removed. About a dozen fans turned their backs to the court when Smith attempted free throws. Still, she persisted. The government's priorities, she wrote, are not on bettering the quality of life for all of its people, but rather on expanding its own power. My stance is not a personal attack on veterans. I know the flag represents people who have died for this country, and I support them, but the flag means different things to everyone. Toni could not dismiss her inner voice. As Ralph Wiley wrote, we've all seen the pictures of Tommie Smith and John Carlos standing on the medal podium in black stocking feet with their fists raised and a black glove salute. They were saying essentially what Toni Smith is saying. People have died, people are dying, not all of them by noble means or for noble ends, and when will it end? This is sacrifice. Dissent is the ultimate form of patriotism, the antithesis to shut up and be grateful for living here. Now shut up and don't object to the recklessness of politicians, the greed, the corruption. Stay in your lane. That is not patriotism, that is communism. Toni Smith will be remembered as someone who cares more about her country than the people who refuse to challenge it. Today, her name is Toni Smith Thompson. She lives in New York City and works for the New York Civil Liberties Union. They say history tends to repeat itself. Jingoism, through this course of athlete protests, takes aim at sports figures for stepping outside what society attempts to box them in as, nothing more than a brainless competitor. From Jackie Robinson to Kurt Flood, Tommy Smith and John Carlos to Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf and Colin Kaepernick, the American culture vilifies athletes who look different than the consumer, masquerading their hatred in the form of patriotism. The attacks are copy and paste worthy. Those who did not learn from history are doomed to repeat it. A ceasefire is needed and an open mind is warranted. If you'd like to hear more thought-provoking content like TYT Sports on Facebook and to help in my journey to keep media independent, go to tyt.com/Rick.